boy was born with a golden vest. Mom thought it was a bad omen, so she left him to fend for himself. She saw the boy drifting farther and farther away. Then a strong man jumped down from the cliff. He swam to the baby with all his might. But 30 meters away from the child, a 10,000-meter high tsunami came crashing down on him. The sun in the sky turned into a fireball. Until the moment the child was rescued, the tsunami miraculously stopped. The sun returned to normal. It turns out that the child has the ability to turn bad luck into good. And the strong man brought the child back home. At that moment, his wife was in labor. When he saw the midwife coming, he had a plan. She told the midwife that my wife had just given birth to a baby, but there's another one in her belly. You should go and help her. Soon the second child was born. The two babies together were twins, but before they could be happy, the police came to their door. They suspected that the child was the monster that caused the tsunami. They wanted to take him away. At this point, Anna was furious. I gave birth to my child in October. Why are you taking him away? But then the midwife came out to testify. They only gave birth to one child. The baby was about to be taken away. The strong man had to tell a lie. He told the officers that the baby was born to him and another woman. Anna was shocked. She got her child back, but it also broke his wife's heart. You've given me a big surprise. Anna put the baby on the floor. She went into the house without looking back. In order not to involve his wife, he chose to hide the truth. At night, the strong man persuaded his wife to raise the child with him, but his wife refused. The baby was starving and screaming all the time. Anna had no choice but to leave it alone. The strong man had no choice but to stick a tissue to the door. He drops it into the baby's mouth. But this is not a good idea. The strong man could only use the method of provocation. I'll take the child. If you don't accept him, then we'll leave together. Seeing that his wife didn't say anything, the strong man turned around and was about to leave. At that moment, his wife called out to him, but the wife didn't choose to compromise. The boy was born with a golden vest, but his mother threw him into the river. Watching the boy float away, the sun became a ball of fire, and a 100-meter high tsunami came crashing down. The moment the boy was rescued, the tsunami miraculously stopped. The sun returned to normal. It turned out that the child was the son of the sun god. He has the power to turn bad luck into good. Tom brought the child home, but his wife didn't want to accept the child. But when she saw Tom's resolute eyes, she agreed, but he wouldn't give the child the love he deserved. 9 years have passed since then. Jack had grown into a big boy, but his mother still didn't like him. Luckily, he had a good relationship with his sister. This miserable childhood was a little warmer. That day, the tribe held a shooting competition. Jack brought his sister to watch. Jack and his sister came to watch. Whoever hits the target wins a special bow. Jack was very interested in this bow. The first to go was John, but he only shot 3 meters. The crowd laughed. Then everyone else went up in turn, but none of them could hit the target. My sister knew how good Jack was. She suggested Jack to go up and try. Jack drew his bow and arrow. Then he sensed the direction of the wind. Jack then shot an arrow amidst the jeers of the crowd. The arrow passed through all the obstacles and finally hit the target. At this moment, everyone was stunned, but because Jack's father was a farmer, the knights considered it an insult that a child of the lower caste had won the knights tournament. He had to be punished. The captain of the group wanted to cut off his arm. Jack's uncle ran to his defense. My nephew won the tournament. He should not be subjected to the rules of caste. The chief let Jack off the hook this time, but when his mother found out, she kept hitting him with a stick. But Jack felt no pain, because it was the first time his mother held his hand. Then Jack was kicked out of the house. As punishment, he had to stay out in the cold all night. Jack was going to hunt moose in the wild. To calm his mother's anger, he prepared his bow and arrow. He went to the forest alone. Here he met a mysterious man. The man recognized Jack's origins right away. Then he took Jack to a place where the mystery of Jack's life was about to be solved. The boy jumped into the abyss to save his sister. I thought they would be broken into pieces. What he didn't expect was to break into stone. His golden armor and earrings were given to him by the sun god. The boy also gained the ability to turn bad luck into good. Let's all give him a like and a good luck. The boy had a bright future ahead of him. He became the lowest member of the tribe because his mother abandoned him. He won the tribe's shooting competition, but was robbed of his prize, and almost lost her life because her adoptive father was in the lowest of the low. Now the patriarch saw Jack's special qualities. He believed that the lower castes had no right to God's gifts. To show his nobility as a knight, he asked Jack to kiss his son's feet. Jack feared for his sister's safety. He chose to tolerate it. Just as he was about to kiss the feet of the patriarch's son, his uncle arrived just in time to stop him. He suggested that the two boys compete in an archery match. If Jack won, he would not be bothered anymore. But the young patriarch, faced with a school of flying fish, he didn't even have the courage to shoot. But when it was Jack's turn, the patriarch forbade him to use his hands. But a man's ability is never determined by his status. Even if he couldn't use both hands, Jack had no fear. He gripped the bow with his left foot. His right foot gripped the arrow. uncle left with his siblings happy, but he didn't know that the chief of the hearth had already begun to kill them. That night, the chief gathered his men. He burned down Jack's house. The foster father fell to his knees and begged the chief for forgiveness. Jack held up his bow and said, "If you can spare my family, I will never touch a bow and arrow again." But even so, the chief still wouldn't let him go. He wanted to cut off Jack's arm. In the nick of time, my uncle took the bow and took Jack's punishment instead. Before he left, the chief warned Jack to remember that a low-caste man is never worthy of an arrow, and finally ordered the whole village not to help him. Jack begged the villagers to help him. The boy climbed a 10,000-meter cliff to save his stepmother, who doesn't like him, and snowdrops only bloom in the early morning. To keep himself awake, the boy broke his hand with a stone. Because of this, the boy found the Tian Shan snow lotus, but he had to get it to his foster mom before the sun hit her, before the sunlight reaches his foster mother. Then the boy began to race against the sun. Even though there was a 10,000-meter high cliff in front of him, the boy jumped without fear, because she has the power to turn the wind into luck. Anyone who likes the video will receive good luck. In the end, when his foster mom was about to die, the boy brought the snow lotus to his foster mom. Absorbing the essence of the snow lotus, the foster mom gradually woke up. She knew that Jack had saved her life, but she hadn't given her any motherly love all these years. Instead, she made things difficult for him. Thinking about this, the foster mother left tears of remorse. At this moment, she accepted Jack with all her heart. Then the foster father took the family on their way. On the way, Jack and his sister fell into a deep sleep. When they woke up, it was time for the sun to shine on their faces. They had arrived in the colorful city of Has. Here Jack would start a new life with his family. Then they entered the city. They were amazed at the incredible architecture. The faces of the men were filled with amazement. The sister ran up to a magnificent statue. Jack followed her. The sister said, "Who could live in such a big building?" But before Jack could answer, a richly dressed boy came out from inside. He told the two of them that only noble knights were allowed to live here. But the sister laughed at his words, because the boy didn't look like a knight at all. His brother was a knight, but the boy said that the king was going to honor the knights later, and then you'll know who the knights are. When her sister heard the news, rushed off to watch the ceremony. Jack had no choice but to follow. When the foster parents turned around, the two children had disappeared. Jack and his sister went to the palace. One of the knights was bragging about his accomplishments. His sister laughed at him. Seeing the angry look in the eyes of the writer, Jack hurriedly pulled his sister to leave, but he was stopped by the queen. Jack's adoptive parents arrived at the same time. They apologized to the king. Then they took the children to leave, but they were stopped by the queen again. The queen asked her sister why she was laughing at the knight. She said it was because he was proud. She said it was because he was proud and arrogant and his brother was 100 times better. To prove that she was right, the king ordered a bow to be brought. Then the king brought out his own gold necklace.